Hi, we're back for another little tour of our vegetable patch. I say our vegetable patch, it's my vegetable patch. Anyway, you last saw us on the 5th of May. We're now on the 2nd of June, so about a month has passed. This is about number 10, I think, in the episodes. Last time you would have seen everything was just in and quite small, but everything's going a bit mad now. First of all, you might want to zoom in on the strawberries, and you can see I've got loads of strawberries on there, but they're all still green. They need to ripen up. That will come with a bit more hot weather. Although we're now in June in the UK, it's looking a bit wet and not so warm, but never mind. I'm quite impressed with my apples, this espalier I've got on the wall here. The top row, mind you, oh yes, no, I have got some more at the bottom as well. It's coming on, it's only a couple of years in, so it's taken a little while to get established, but at least I have got more than last year. I think we had 4 last year, so I'm impressed. My blueberry bush, not sure whether they're going to, I don't know if you can zoom in on their front chair. I've got a few blueberries forming. I might have covered it up a little bit early, so we'll see, but never mind. And I mentioned in the last video how I had some odd potatoes that had self-seeded from last year. Look at the state of them. I kind of leave them in because, you know, all potatoes, if they're free, they're all a bonus, aren't they? Here you'll see I've popped in, they weren't in the last video, I don't think. I've popped in 2 courgette plants, zucchini plants. The one near Francesco is a little ball one, and the one here is the longer one. But as you can see, they're coming on quite nicely. But what I'm actually doing is pulling them off quite early, so the energy puts a bit more effort into growing the plant rather than growing the zucchini or the courgette. But we'll see how we go. I'm going to try and grow them up the stick a bit to use a bit less space, so they're doing well. In the last video, you would have seen the spinach plants. They're not like a traditional spinach. They're what they call a beet spinach. But ultimately, they're a leafy green that you can use. You can use them in salads, but we often then cook with them, don't we, darling? This is going on the compost heap, don't panic. But they're coming on nicely. I have in here a few leftover lettuces from last year that I tend to give to the tortoise. But I'm going to let them go to seed and see whether I can actually take the seed off them and have for another year instead of buying more. So we'll see. Not 100% sure how well that will do. I've got in here my beetroot. They're still growing. They'll take another few weeks or so. I've got some onions in there and some more beetroot. So they're all coming along nicely. I think last time we were on, they were about so big. So I'm quite pleased. These are my summer fruiting raspberries, which are all forming here. I did then see a load. Where were they? Oh, I guess you can mainly see them at the top here, a bit like little strawberries, look, but they'll become nice long raspberries. They're summer fruiting ones. And then the ones down there are autumn fruiting peach ones, so they are much further behind. And again, we've got a load of potatoes that have self-seeded from last year. This is my proper chard that I've got growing in there with the odd potato. I've missed that one. Too late now, I might leave him. And then these are all of my main crop potatoes. And over here, I've got some new potatoes. But ultimately, they sort themselves out. We don't have to worry about them. Looking at the pergola, you can see my peas are coming on nicely. These are the really tall. They're supposed to get about 1,80 metre, I think, these ones. So these are getting nice and tall. And there was a little bit of a gap at the back here, at the end here. So I've actually popped in some beans to grow up, some French beans that should probably only get up to about so high. But I had a little bit of a space, so I've popped them in. And then I've got some French beans growing just here as well at the beginning. I like to be symmetrical because I'm a little bit sad like that. I've got some more peas growing along here. This side's a little bit slower, but they're coming along. Nice to have at different stages. Then actually we'll be able to pick them at different times and that will elongate the season. So that should do well. And I also popped my borlotti beans out. It was getting very warm in the UK, so I decided they could go out now. And I've put them all the way along here. So hopefully we'll have a wonderful display, because later on, you might remember from last year, we had the plants all growing up a little tiny pergola, and then all of the beans hang down and they're all a lovely pink. So it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I can't wait. So I've moved over here to show you what's going on with my cauliflower. This is my sacrificial cauliflower in case a load of caterpillars should want to come. I'm just going to remove this so you can see a bit what's going on. Oh, except I've tied it to there, but never mind. You can see that I've got the cauliflower growing in here. I've got some lettuces down here as well, and I have a load of onions growing there as well. Oh, and an acorn, we'll get rid of him. And over here I have got some fennel. Now it's not doing brilliantly well, And I think ultimately that's because it's a bit shady over here, but it was a trial. I had to put it somewhere and it gets quite big. So I'm actually going to sort this bit out in a little while and maybe put some different colour mesh on top so it's got more space, because some of them are getting really big. Look down here at these cauliflower. Well, let's say the leaves. There's no sign of a cauliflower inside at the moment, but they will come later on. But I'm quite pleased everything is doing quite well. So here are my broad beans. They're not doing brilliantly this year. They're not as tall as I thought they would be. Normally last year they were all this size, and I think there's several things involved with that. We've had a really dry spring and it's been really windy, and the wind comes over and sweeps across here, so it might have stunted their growth a little bit. However, I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll have some. I've now got a big space up the end there that I'm going to put, I think, some other types of cauliflower in. So I'm going to do that potentially later on today. I'll show you the plants in a minute. But they're all doing really well. Here's my carrot and parsnip bed. As you can see, my parsnips are doing really well, so I'm really pleased with them. Oh, odd weed. Let's get rid of those. But they're doing really well. I've also got in here, seen too many weeds. I popped a few lettuces in here because there's a little bit of space at the moment and I had nowhere else to put them. And I've got my carrots in here too. I did actually put some more in the gaps the other day as well, so hopefully there'll be a nice turnover of carrots there. Now you might wonder why I've left these onions like this. I think I've got about 5 or 6 plants in there. And the idea is that if you leave a group of onions together and they go to seed the second year, they will develop seed heads, which will then cross-pollinate, and I'll be able to collect the seed and hopefully grow my own onions next year. I'm hoping they're going to be a bit more successful in the other years. I haven't done very well before. However, we'll have another go. I've got good 3 seed heads on here at the moment, so we'll see how we go. Now, last time I was on this bed, it was full of radish. I've come to the conclusion I can't grow radish. It seems to be something I'm incapable of growing. So each time I try it, they get really leggy and big and bushy, but there's hardly any radish at the bottom, which is the whole point of growing them. So personally, I think I might just give it a miss and not bother, and I'll buy the odd pack.
So
I'm not going to worry.
The ones that you grew?
I grew a few, and we've eaten a few. My mum's had a few, but most of it was just foliage. I think potentially it's because it's up here and maybe the soil is not good enough. There's also the wind, lack of sun, who knows. Sometimes you just got to realise you're not very good at growing some things, and that's one of them. However, my lettuce bed is coming along beautifully. I've had quite a lot of this already actually. What I'm doing is taking out the bottom leaves. So if you can see at the bottom there, look, I've been cutting them. So basically I just go along, take out a lot of the bottom leaves, and then it continues to grow. And that's been working really well. Lots of the red, the Lola Rossa over here as well. So I'm really pleased with those. They're keeping us going. And up here you'll see I've actually got these dotted all over the place. Loads of nasturtiums and the marigolds. The idea being that they help with the bugs and things like that. So I also thought they'd look quite nice hanging from there eventually once they get going. And now I think we can wander over there. And here are my peas. You must remember in the last video they were tiny little plants. I think these were about so tall, but look at them, they're like triffids now. And the peas are forming. Obviously they need to fill out and grow some more and get some peas in, but these are my first ones that went in. They're doing really well. And these are 2 different types of mange too, but they've also got lots of flowers on. And look, little purple ones, so they'll be lovely. I haven't actually grown those before, so we'll see how we get on. I mentioned earlier about the cauliflower. No, they're actually Romanesque cauliflower I'm having a go at. They need a good water, everybody, don't panic. I'm going to give them a good water and get them in the garden, but I've done them in these containers to get them going until I was sure where I was going to put them in, and also you don't want to put them in too early, so hopefully they'll do well. I've got my garlic, which is coming along very nicely.
Are there the artichokes over there?
Oh yeah, got 3 artichokes. I'm never very successful with them. Yet again, I wonder if it's because it's not sunny enough, but we'll have another go this year and see how we get on. Okay. So the garlic is doing very well. We've had some more asparagus yesterday actually, didn't we? And I did pop a little tomato plant in the back there just to see how we got on. A few more potato seedlings that have decided to grow there. Not sure whether I'm going to bother with my gooseberry bush anymore, to be honest, everybody. There's hardly any gooseberries on it. We've kept it covered as much as we could. I can't even find any. Oh, here's a few, look.
Oh yeah.
So they're coming on, but there's just not many at all. So I do wonder with the space it takes whether to bother another year, but I will see what I think once I've picked them. And then obviously the little figs are still doing really well. So
figs
I'm pleased.
Update. Let's have a look.
The figs are coming on. They need to plump up. I think they were ready more like August, September time last year. We need to probably tie them in a little bit more because they're lilting there. Now when he slowly goes backwards.
Hopefully I won't trip.
Oh, I might. Okay, I've also got here today to put in, when I find some space, some celery.
Oh yeah.
That would be lovely to get those going. These are a few more collies that I really just didn't have space along there, so I've popped them in there. They're doing really well. And some more of my strawberries, look, which are doing really well.
When are we going to eat all these collies?
Well, I think I'll just be giving cauliflower to everybody we know.
I should think so.
Everybody can have some cauliflower for my garden. I didn't think they'd all come on, but they did. And now in the greenhouse, last time we were here, I think it was still full of my summer pots, and my little greenhouse was there, and I had a table with all my seedlings on, but obviously I was able to get the pots all out. I put some more compost on top, gave everything a good feed, and I've got everything in. So some of these are the little seedlings you saw in the last video were my basil, my parsley, some of the marigolds. I've got some chilies. I bought this one the other day because that was quite new, this nice little purple basil. And then some of my tomato plants which are growing here. I also bought a courgette, which is what they call a Sicilian serpent courgette. And that should have, if it grows well, and fingers crossed, the really long, twisty, pale green zucchini that you get in Sicily on. I'm having a try anyway, so we'll see. Same again the other side. This one actually is the small plum tomatoes that I got from seeds from a supermarket. So I'm letting that grow. I haven't been pinching it out because when I read about them, it said they were generally bush forming plants. However, it's not very bush forming at the minute, so we'll see. And this is your traditional cordon from the medium-sized tomatoes that I got from a supermarket. This is a cucumber. Now I've bought him because I literally only want one plant because they just go on and on and on all summer, so I really don't need any more than one plant, so I generally just buy the one. But I'm really pleased with what's going on in here. I've just got some kale seeds that I've got going. They can go in another few weeks. Next thing I'm going to do is pot up this shop bought basil plant. As you can see, it's getting a little bit dry around the bottom there, so that's my next job for today. But see you in about a month's time. Hopefully there'll be something else to show you by then, and have a good day. Thank you.
I'll just turn around and I'll do a little panoramic of what the vegetable patch looks like from over here, and I'll go to the other side so that you get appreciation, pergola included. And here we are from the other side. It looks like a little jungle at the moment. And by the way, look, she just given me some zucchini, which I will be cooking in a little while. I'll be doing a little pasta, including the flour. So if you want to see what I do with this, just pop over to the other channel. There'll be a card on this channel where you can see my recipe. Thank you for watching, and see you later.